That's fine. Because we can right now. That was so weird.
Welcome back to Weekend Movie Bros, where I am Shakeup. That is Idiot.
There
And
you
this
go.
is our podcast.
And that's a microphone.
It's not as fun. You have to call it Magic Mike.
And that's Magic Mike. And that's Magic Mike. And that's Magic Mike right
It's
there.
fine. We're moving on. This is a podcast that we cover bi-monthly, which means that we cover everything the month after, essentially. This month we're covering all January stories that we want to talk about in February because we didn't post a direct. We did like a fun little movie review catch up for January that kind of went out in February, but we're not going to talk about it. But it was for January. We have several stories to cover that we're excited to talk about, and we'll go back and forth. Anything to add?
Nope. As the host, you do a fantastic job doing the recaps.
I try. I had to do a lot of it in different areas, so like it's kind of. All right.
We should, as we get excited for tomorrow, if you're an X-Men fan, previously on Weekend Movie Bros. Duh, duh. If you watch X-Men, you know the previously thing is pretty important to the show. So.
You can see what he really wants to talk about, but he still has a little bit of time before we get there.
I do.
A whole other podcast. This is not even a podcast.
So close to the show. Sorry.
Okay, calm down. Let's talk about Thunderbolts. Still Marvel.
Still Marvel, but not my happy Marvel.
I am still excited for Thunderbolts, but like I have a lot of reasons. Zachary doesn't have that many reasons.
No. Let's be real here, everybody. Why is Jake excited for Thunderbolts? Why? Everybody say it together with me. 1, 2, 3. Florence Pugh. And hang on, one more. Everybody. 1, 2, 3. What's it? Barnes.
Bucky Barnes. Sebastian Stan.
Man, and that's
the entire little subplot of my universe. The espionage.
If those two people were not in Thunderbolts, Jacob would not give two shits about the current movie they're developing.
Well, I would care, but I just wouldn't care as much. There's a difference.
Anyway, so there's some switch-ups on the teams?
Yeah, so there's lots of things going on. We're going to run through it in case you guys don't even know what Thunderbolts is. The quickest way to explain what the Thunderbolts are, it's basically a Marvel's version of Suicide Squad. That is the simplest and easiest way to clear that up. Supposedly, they're going to hunt down people who are, like, they're going to try to steal uranium. That was the original plot. This has gone through several rewrites, so I have no idea if that's even in the current script. But the cast has had a few switch-ups from its previous time. The release date has also moved as well. It's now
still in 2025, right?
Yeah, it's well, originally it was supposed to come out in 2024. It was supposed to arrive in July this year. Not happening. Mostly due to the writers and actors strike that happened last year. They didn't have enough time to film it, to get it all edited. So it comes out for beginning of summer of next year, May 2nd. So we're back at a May release date for a Marvel movie, which is actually kind of nice. It makes me feel a little happy inside. I miss them. It's been a few years.
Here's my thing before we go on, though. Don't you think Captain America should be in May and Thunderbolts should be in the other spot?
I don't know what Captain America is coming out for. I can't remember. I think it's July, which I feel like it's much better. July 5th. Like if they can get a weekend around there, I think it's much more suited for like.
But no offense to Thunderbolts, and I appreciate the Thunderbolts. When I hear Captain America, I think of Memorial Day weekend. I don't think of Thunderbolts.
No, I definitely do agree with that, but also like I don't know. I feel like both dates do work.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on Captain America's date. I'm not entirely sure when that one comes out. Do you want me to look it up?
You can. I know it's somewhere around the ominous, probably not going to get made Blade movie.
It will definitely get made. They're just going through it's a struggle over there, but it will get made. I do feel confident about it. They haven't dropped. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's starting to film again.
I think so.
I had heard
I hope so.
Roth was going to be going to like Atlanta or something under those lines.
Oh yeah, because she's in the movie, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. I don't know what role. They have not had any announcements on characters except for Blade. February 14th. That is not a good date. It's coming out for Valentine's Day. You know what? But I would agree with you. I think I would put Thunderbolts here at the February 14th release date, but it probably won't be ready in time. I think that's probably the reason why.
That's also probably
because they had to have a lot of stops. Whereas Captain America is almost completely done. They have a few shoots that are supposed to be going on this year, but outside of that, and VFX work and stuff
which means we'll probably get our first trailer for Cap probably towards the end of the year.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would say, whatever the last big Disney movie of the year, towards the end of the year.
Moana.
Oh yeah, Moana might be a good one. Yeah, we'll talk about that as well. In coming up. Okay.
Anyway, tangents aside, Thunderbolts. What happened?
Okay, I'm trying. So the creators, I think, stay the same, if I'm not mistaken. Which are the creators, the people they brought over everybody from Beef. Which
So
was
you watched Beef, right?
I did watch Beef. I watched Beef the weekend it came out, and I very much adored it. I thought it was quite good.
Do the
It's a little
creators of
sad.
do they fit the Thunderbolts idea?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a good idea. Stephen Young, I think Young, who was cast in it originally, a different writer was supposed to be on it. He brought over everybody. They almost brought everybody over from that TV show to be in this, except Ali Wong, which I do think is a little bit annoying. So Ayo Aberi, who I love, she was originally casted in this. She has since been dropped out of the role due to scheduling issues because of the strike, and so now we have Geraldine Viswasman?
Gesundheit.
I don't know who that is. I'm going to be honest with you. And then Stephen Yeun, who originally, tried to make this team come together, has also dropped out due to scheduling conflicts as well. They're both mystery roles, so we have no idea who's going to. Stephen Yeun has not even had a replacement announcement.
But let's all be real here. We all know who Stephen was playing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I can't think of the name.
We won't say it here because I don't want to ruin it. But we all know who he's playing. So whoever they're getting to replace him, we got to kind of like the idea.
Did you see the trailer for Drive Away Dolls? Let's see Ethan Cohen with all the guest stars.
I don't remember if I did.
2 lesbians steal briefcase. Have to go on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Pedro Pascal plays.
Yep.
Person. Okay. The girl, the other lesbian outside of Mara Qualley, who I think you know. Do you know who Mara Qualley is? No, damn it. Okay, one of the leads in that movie is the person who replaced her.
Who's she playing in the movie? Do we know?
No, undisclosed roles. Completely. There's also a rumor that Zemo is supposed to be in it, but that has not been confirmed or denied either. But where else would Zemo
if Zemo's not in the movie, then the movie doesn't make sense.
The cast is following. So we have Yelena Belova, Florence Pugh. Oh my god, I can't think of his name. Stranger Things.
Oh,
what is his name?
David Harbour. Red Guardian.
David Harbour playing Red
Guardian.
Red Guardian. Thank you so much. We also have Taskmaster. She'll be in this as well. Bucky Barnes will be in this.
Ghost was in this, but no longer in this.
Yes, Ghost is no longer in this. And then we also have the other character from Winter Soldier, the evil Captain America. I can't think of his name either. U.S. Agent, thank you. He will also be a part of this. Val will be the head. She's the Nick Fury of this team.
And Harrison Ford's going to be in this, right?
Yes, Harrison Ford is supposed to be in this.
Obviously, it's called the Thunderbolts. It'd be kind of weird if Thunderbolt was not in the movie.
He is supposed to be in this, which also could be the reason why it comes out after Captain America.
Oh, that makes more sense. Why it would come first, and then, hey, Marvel making ideas and making it all make sense.
We'll see.
Oh, hey, I'm getting confidence here.
I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the window. This is the girl that got to replace her. This is that actress. But that's Thunderbolts. Zachary, how are your thoughts and your feelings for it?
Okay, so I mean,
the leaders are Bucky and Yelena. They're a co-lead.
I love Bucky. Obviously, I love Yelena. I've grown to appreciate the Red Guardian character. But the idea of this movie made sense when watching Falcon and Winter Soldier. I understand the way they're going, but now you remember how everybody was like, "Oh well, Marvel has Guardians, so DC did Suicide Squad."
Yeah.
Now it feels like it's the opposite, where DC had the Suicide Squad, and now Marvel wants their version with Thunderbolts. And I'm going to be real with you, Marvel has not done a great job of making their villains. They always have like a redeeming arc. There's something going on to make them heroic. The Thunderbolts can't be that. The Thunderbolts have to be bad guys doing things the way the heroes can't do it. Otherwise, the movie doesn't feel like the Thunderbolts. And I really hope they make Ross a bad person. I really want Harrison Ford to dive deep into being a villain in the MCU, because that's what Thunderbolt is. He wants the Avengers to be disbanded because he wants to control what's going on, not them. And so the whole plot of them trying to steal uranium, I think, is just eh. It'd be cooler if they were stealing adamantium, tying it in with the X-Men and the mutant stuff they're trying to put together. I think that would be more interesting.
I don't know. Like, I guess the issue is the fact it had to get pushed and
Yeah,
things. I mean, I think that's what the true issue, because I feel like maybe by the time it comes out, outside of the fact that it's a really cool team, I'm excited to see all these people at players. This is technically Black Widow 2, technically, and
yeah.
things. Um, it being pushed off so much, it's supposed to tie in with Black Widow, with Hawkeye, with
Falcon.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. Also, Black Panther 2 is supposed to have a tie-in here as well. That type of stuff, because they did mention uranium, and that's where Val shows up technically for the third time, right? That was
You
the
mean
last thing Val was in.
do you mean vibranium or do you mean uranium?
Vibranium.
You
Vibranium.
keep saying uranium.
Sorry. Vibranium.
Okay.
Wakanda.
Wakanda.
She's going in to steal it. That's her job. She wants to go in to steal it. That's what the supposed story that's been worked. Once again, this has changed a lot because of the fact that Captain America 4 has changed a lot as well. So I could be completely wrong in what they're actually doing.
Also, we're also adding in the mystery male character, which, if you know what we're talking about, then you know what we're talking about. How does that factor into everything? Because that character is different from everybody else on this team. And so you have to balance that character with everybody else. And how will that function? Like, will that be the villain of the movie? Like, are they using him as like a ploy or something? Is he the hero we're fighting against the villains? Like, what's going to be happening with that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I want to be excited for this, but it just right now I am definitely on like the swing side of Marvel. Like, I want to be there with them. I really do. But I just need to watch a good project from them, hopefully tomorrow. So, we just, got to get back on that swaying foundation of them being on a good spot.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed the Marvels.
And I did too.
I had this inkling the other day, like, I want to go see a Marvel movie in theaters, which has to mean something. I mean, that has to do something. I don't know what that means, but I am excited. What?
I think Deadpool and Wolverine that movie needs to do well.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not just saying financially. Critically wise, this movie has to do well.
It just has to do well across the board.
It's Superman for Marvel. This movie has to do well for Marvel, much like Superman has to do well for DC. It has to. Speaking of, that was a great transition without me knowing.
I thought you set it up.
I'll see you later. Have a good one. Speaking of the Man of Steel, a lot's been going on with this film. First off, new title. It's no longer called Superman Legacy. It's just called Superman. And I gotta tell you, I'm happy they got rid of the Legacy thing, because it makes it feel like a sequel when this should stand on its own. Like, it shouldn't have to worry about that part. But the casting for this movie, we have not talked about at length. We talked about David. We've talked about Rachel. But not about anybody else. So to kind of reiterate, we have David Corn Sweat playing Clark Kent Superman. Jacob, yay or nay on that one?
Always a yay. Okay. When I saw The Politician, which was a Netflix show created by Ryan Murphy, he played a very small, very tiny role. But as soon as he came on the screen, I was like, oh, one day, hopefully, you get to play Superman.
And sure enough.
They are buffing him up. I'm not sure how much I enjoy that aspect of it, because he looks so tiny as Clark Kent that I feel like the buff side is always what takes me away from him actually look like the Clark Kent side.
Here's the thing. I think we'll have skinny Clark Kent, and then by the time we get to him being in Metropolis, he'll be a little bit more. I think Christopher Reeve is still a perfect example of playing like the linkiness of Clark Kent, but also having the heroic standpoint of Superman. So if they can find that kind of boundary, I think I'd be all good. Now, this is the one I know you have trepidations on, and that's Rachel Brosnahan as
I'll be
Lois.
right back. Keep going.
Okay. Everything okay? All right. And then we have Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. Every time I see her more, I envision her as Lois. So I think she is going to do great. When it comes to David, he is definitely the unconventional version of Superman for me. I'm still excited to see what he's going to do, but I'm excited for his Superman. Rachel Brosnahan is the Lois Lane. I think she looks good every time I see her. The little video they put out of her, Nicholas, and Brandon together, I think was awesome. She looks like Lois Lane. Um, that's the one that you're having issue with. Why?
Not issues. I would say just because the casting has gone so much in my favor,
Mm-hmm.
like for this movie, outside of all James Gunn's friends, which we'll talk about, outside of like them, but the people that he's kind of gone out of his way to look for others that he does not know. David
Yeah.
Cornsley. We'll talk about Supergirl as well, which I'm so excited about. She was also out of the top 3 that they announced for her. She was my top 1 as well. Rachel Brosnahan just happened not to be my favorite out of the group. Mostly because I'm not familiar with her work enough. Like I didn't watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which made her famous. I'm not saying she's going to do a bad job. I'm just not. I wasn't as familiar, and so she wasn't the one I was championing for. So I'm I'm hoping to be blown away.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done so well with the other castings and stuff. That like
So
Ms.
when I
I'll
look
say,
at the casting for this movie, the casting reminds me so much of My Adventures with Superman, the cartoon that I watched.
Mhm.
The casting reminds me so much of it, and I'm like, keep up with that cast. So then, speaking of a movie that came out in February that really tangled itself in its own web, Isabella Merced is playing Hot Girl, and this is where I am trepidatious and a little nervous about this movie is that I wanted this film to focus on Superman, Clark, the life of Metropolis, and dealing with Lex. Now, I know that's so generic. I understand it's generic, but that's what I want this universe to start off with. However, they have to get this stowing off the gate. So I understand why they're bringing in members of the JL. Now, if you don't know, they are shooting here in Ohio in April. They're shooting in Columbus. There's one reason why they would only shoot in Columbus, and I know why they'd be shooting in Columbus. The Children's Museum.
Oh,
It is the exact way people use the Hall of Justice. And that's what the Hall of Justice looks like. So I think the Children's Museum will be the Hall of Justice in Superman, and that's where we'll see the Justice League predominantly throughout the film. Uh, we have Eddie Garthery as Michael Holt, Mr. Terrific. I think Mr. Terrific is a brilliant character. Also, he is. It's not like they're saying here is our diverse character. That's not saying it at all. But he is an openly gay black superhero that is beloved. He's very much like Professor X's kind of level of like mind abilities. So I think, and the guy they chose is a really good actor. I think he'll do. He was in X-Men First Class. He played the
that's
one
who it is.
that
Yeah.
changed all the characters and stuff. He'll be playing Mr. Terrific. I think he'll do a good job.
Yeah, I pulled up the cast so I could look at the faces while we were
So
talking about.
here is where Jay was talking about James Gunn's friends, and I'm going to be honest with you. Of all the friends that are in this movie, this is the one I'm completely okay with, and that's Nathan Fillion. Is he playing the wrong Green Lantern? Absolutely, but I'm just happy he's in a superhero project, a proper one, not as a one-off character. He's playing a hero. He'll show up in Lanterns for sure, but he of all of James Gunn's friends, he's the one that makes the most sense because he's an actor. He's acted before outside of James Gunn's work. Therefore, I don't count him as a friend.
My
He's worked
only
with him
issue,
before.
my only issue with Nathan Fillion, I love Nathan Fillion. I have supported Nathan Fillion for a very long part of his career. I have nothing wrong with it. I don't think he's horribly casted here. James Gunn's way of talking about casting him was my issue and things. Him being in it, not that bad. The reason why, well, the joking reason, obviously, I'm sure it wasn't the direct reason, but the joking reason why he was casted and why they chose this particular Green Lantern to do and all that other stuff was the issue that I had. But that's more with James Gunn, not so much with Nathan Fillion. So, and that's not going to change. My opinion of James Gunn is not going to change. Even objectively, I do feel like he's getting better with each movie he directs. So I am excited to see what he's doing here,
Mhm.
So But either way, continue.
Next, we have Anthony Cardigan as Rex Mason, Metamorpho. This one's interesting. So
Who's
I'm going to read about.
Metamorpho?
Okay. I actually have a description of Metamorpho here for you.
Thank you.
An archaeologist and superhero who can transmutate elements in his body into various forms. So
Oh,
he can use water, he can use rock, he can use air, he can like change his body in different ways and like change his body
yeah. I
around.
feel like Anthony. I think like the actor could do a really good job with that. I think
So
that's
originally he's played in DC before. He played Victor Zsasz in
yeah.
Gotham. And so
He's also
he
from
felt
Logan, right?
no, that's oh
That's not
Lord,
who this is.
that's not who
No,
it
that's
is.
not who this is. You're right. You're right.
Um
Oh,
speaking about
Barry.
yeah,
Sorry.
you're
So
good.
sorry.
Speaking about the role, he felt that he could bring some authenticity and truth to the role by comparing Metamorpho's concerns about his abilities to Cardigan's own alopecia,
Cool.
which I think is awesome. I love when an actor can find a way to connect to a character like that. I think that's awesome. Next, we have the Maria Gabriela de Farcia as Angela Spica, aka the Engineer. Now, this is the first member that we're going to meet from the Authority, who is going to be a movie we're going to get down the line. This is kind of setting up the anti-Justice League, in my opinion, for this universe, which is going to be the Authority. I think the Authority movie will be so up your alley, Jacob. It's not even funny. Look up the Authority. I won't tell you anything about them. Just look them up. Next, we have Sarah Sampino as Eva Tessmacher. Here's my thing. Tessmacher, I think, was the wrong choice for Lex's woman in this movie.
Okay.
I think it should have gone with his bodyguard. I think she's a more capable character. I think she's a more badass character, and I think she fits more with Lex. Tessmacher, I instantly go back to 1987 Superman, where she was like a damsel in distress, trying to be quirky and funny. Like that doesn't fit this for me at all. I could be wrong, but that's who I think of when I think of Tessmacher, not the other way around. Now here's the one I know you and I are both excited for, and that's Skylar Gonzalo as Jimmy Olsen. If you've never watched Santa Clarita Diet, go watch Santa Clarita Diet and just understand why this kid is brilliant and why he is the absolute perfect casting choice for Jimmy Olsen. Perfect, perfect, perfect. That's all. Nicholas Holt as Lex Luthor is, again, brilliant. This man has wanted to play Superman. He lost the role. He wanted to play Lex. He lost the role. He has actual antagonization against Superman. I think this fits awesome. I think him and David have really good, like, they fit. Like, they
Yeah.
fit like they would be part of the same universe. And then here's the other one, Otis, who is, again, from the original 1987 Superman movies, played by Terrence Rossmore. And I'm like, again, all I think of is goofy, dumb idiot. Like, I don't want that in this movie. I want them to be, within the film, not as quirky and weird. I hope the movie's quirky and weird, but I don't want the villains to be that way. I want them to be more methodical and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
then we have Wendell Pierce playing Perry White, who I think is a brilliant choice for Perry. He'll add that sarcastic kind of humor to the movie. And then additionally, Sean Gunn, who is like, it's like if you have a gun, you have a gun.
Yeah.
As Maxwell Lord, so he's replacing Pedro Pascal. Yeah, he's playing Maxwell.
He also was portrayed by the dad from Twilight in Supergirl.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't know, Sean Gunn also plays Weasel in the DCEU. But I also think they're bringing Weasel over into the cartoon. So,
Oh.
well, Weasel is a very insufficient character. That really doesn't. That's not going to go anywhere or do anything. He's just a stupid little muskrat that gets killed a lot. Woohoo! And then the last one recently was Millie Alcock as Supergirl, which I think again
I'm so excited.
brilliant casting.
I'm so
If you've not
excited.
seen House of the Dragon, this girl demands presence, and she will give it to you. I cannot wait for Supergirl the movie now. Huh. So
Yeah,
Jacob,
see, that's what made me so excited. I was like, we're gonna give you more. I just know it's gonna be brilliant. I'm so excited.
that is
Definitely.
the cast of Superman. What do you think?
So overall, I'm really excited. There's a few people who are in disclosed roles, as such as Miriam Shore as well. Supposedly she's playing a villain. It wouldn't be the first. This is like the third time she's worked with Gunn. I enjoy her from other stuff. The same thing, like Sean Gunn. I like Sean Gunn. I just don't tend to like him with his brother. I like him outside, like Gilmore Girls, phenomenal in Gilmore Girls. I can understand why he would be getting work, and if he was getting work because he's not related, I would feel like, I don't know. It's such a mixed bag, but that's a different conversation. And that's not the important part here. Overall, I'm a very big fan of this cast. Just because there's so many people in here that I love that I'm excited to play, see what they're like on screen, and that type of thing. My nervous issue with it is, as much as I like all these people, there's no big name, no gigantic name that I think could pull someone in. Now, you could also have said the same thing about Man of Steel when it came out. Henry Cavill was a nobody, essentially. He did a few TV work, nothing super huge in the Superman department, but they also had Amy Adams in it, who was somewhat of a name
They
recognition.
also had Russell Crowe,
Yeah,
Michael
Russell Crowe.
Shannon.
Yeah, and Zack Snyder was also by that point a household name because of 300 and Watchmen, and people were watching out for whatever he was doing next. Yeah. Outside of James Gunn, who, yes, we have seen has a loyal fan base. Good for them. And I like some of his work as well. Guardians Galaxy was phenomenal. Volume 3, great movie. Terrific. He did a phenomenal job while directing it. Part of the reason why we're excited for this is because of that movie. But I don't see any huge stars here. So the reviews have to be great. Like, it has to be like an all-star level for it to really pop off. I'm nervous for the box office and the business side, not so much like the, that type of thing.
I was listening to John Campea talk about this, and here's my thing. I understand the business part of this, where this movie obviously has to make money to let everybody know, hey, DC can still make money.
Yeah.
However, I think this movie needs to be far more on the critic side.
Yeah.
Because
no, I definitely.
For the past 8 years, DC is not, minus 2 movies, DC has not been on the side of fans and critics. This movie needs to do well with both sides. Even if one side is teetering just a little bit lower than the other, then it's not a success. They didn't fix their issue.
And I definitely feel like if it is on both sides like we're talking about, that's where the business comes in. Yeah. Because everybody's going to be happy and everybody's going to go see it. The action has to be amazing.
Yes.
It also needs to be PG-13.
Yes.
I feel very strongly about this. There's not many movies out there I'm like, this needs to be a certain rating or anything. There's only a few out there. I would say if this was rated R, I feel like it would go too far.
Setting the standard for your superhero movies, for Superman being rated R, it doesn't sit.
Also, if he's trying to get the cozy vibe, which he's talked about so many times at this point,
rated R doesn't fit cozy.
It does not. It doesn't even fit it doesn't fit it at all. So the trailer needs to be this movie needs every stepping stone to be correct.
It's like I talked about in the last one. It's much like Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine has to hit every single mark leading up to the film's release. Same thing with this movie. Whenever we get our first trailer, which also, by the way, kudos to James Gunn, kudos to DC Studios for not going to Comic-Con this year. Because they don't need that shit right now. They don't. They do not need people in front of them booing them and criticizing them right now. They need to focus on their work.
Yeah.
They do not need to be in front of people right now, because all it's going to do is cause more problems. They have enough of that as it is. Focus on your movie. Comic-Con will be there next year for you again. It's fine.
Speaking of Deadpool and Wolverine, these come out a little over a year apart. So that's kind of interesting as well.
There's a Marvel film coming around Superman that I think one of them is going to have to move. I don't know which one.
What comes out in July?
Fantastic Four comes out within a week prior to Superman.
I don't think they'll move. I don't think either of them will move.
That's a stupid mistake.
I agree. Well, I don't think it's a stupid mistake for Fantastic Four. I feel like it's a stupid mistake for Superman.
See, I think the opposite.
Only because I personally, as we talk about it, I do think that Fantastic Four, outside of being a name brand already, Superman's a name brand, so that doesn't really matter. I think there's a little bit more hype around that, and I think the casting's a little more higher, like getting people to be more comfortable with it than...
I agree, but here's the thing. Whether people like Man of Steel or not, Man of Steel still made money. Man of Steel still has fans. Can you name any fans to any 3 of the Fantastic Four films that are out?
They've been popping up like crazy right now because of the casting. And a lot of people, a lot of people are really excited because, a lot of the actors from those movies supposedly are going to
be in Deadpool.
So, and a lot of people are really excited to see them again. A lot of people want them to have a second chance or a third chance, I guess, in this regard. To see them as their characters now. So yeah, I definitely do. I mean, here's the thing. It's a very low bar. I like Superman. Man of Steel put a higher bar for Superman, in my
That's
opinion.
true. Fantastic Four has more lower bar set for them to move forward.
Yeah, I feel like, the story sounds kind of convoluted a little bit from what I understand. So I do think there is it is a Deadpool and Wolverine has a lot to do.
It does. It really does.
And then we can really finally see what this is going to shape out to be. Because here's
Do
the
you
thing,
think?
we're going off Aquaman 2.
Do you
it's
think
not-
Deadpool and Wolverine kind of set the standard for superhero movies moving forward, going into this next era of film for them?
Yeah. Especially the next few films. I'd say next 4 or 5 for sure.
For both DC and Marvel, like Deadpool and Wolverine is like that. It'll be whether or not people can come back.
Yep.
Which is so crazy. I feel so bad for Ryan. I really do. There's just.
I mean, I know there's part of him that's probably cocky about it, though. Like,
for sure. He's like he says in the trailer, "I'm Marvel Jesus."
So, all right. With that being said, that is Superman. Do you have anything extra? I'm just really excited. There's a few people here. I'm excited.
The fact that they're shooting the movie now, it's no longer metaphorically talking about this film. It's the tangibilization that the movie's being made. Also, I love the shield. I love the S. I think the S looks awesome that they put out for on Superman's birthday. I think the suit's going to be fantastic. Do not believe any of the AI bullshit online, everybody. All those pictures you see of David Cornswell in the suit are fake. They're not real. James Gunn already confirmed it. Don't look at them.
There's at least one. I won't say where you can find it because it's kind of illegal, but there is at least one out there that is real. Because I have direct confirmation from someone who was on the set that they were filming in it that it's real. I won't tell you. I won't say which one.
But can you say something about the?
Yeah, it looks great. Yeah, it does look great. Yeah, that's all I could. That's all I will say. Once they're actually set leaks, like true set leaks, that we can talk about, we'll talk about those.
I don't think there'll be set leaks. I think James and I think DC are going to be really, really tight on this one.
We will see.
Where I think that might happen though is when they come here to Ohio. I think it'll be too hard to hide them filming over there.
Yeah.
All right, so Jacob, going from that casting to depressing casting, The Last of Us Season 2.
Ironically, there's a lot of Isabella Marcet here. Oh, we both clicked on it. Okay, we're both clicking out at the same time. There's a lot of Isabella Marcet here. We're talking about her again.
I'm glad she's
going to be talking about her again. I mean, good for her. Her agent.
Go see Dora. Dora's actually a fun film. Don't watch Transformers last night.
It's fucking weird. Dora is fucking weird.
Boots. That's all I have to say.
That's all I have to say. Oh, that was wild. When I showed you that, you didn't believe me, and then it was like real.
Same thing I've ever seen. The voice coming out of that monkey.
So, the Last of Us season. Okay, well, we're moving on. The Last of Us Season 2 has a full cast and has also confirmed several things that we did not know would be happening. I had a thinking, I'm not going to spoil anything here. I do not recommend looking up The Last of Us Part 2 if you only watch the TV show, as well, you will get spoiled, and I'm sure they are doing it. I only know this because I've seen several sets that they have built or sets that they're going to be working in. One in particular on a mountain is all I will say. It's definitely happening for sure. Which now makes a lot of sense why certain actors can work on multiple projects at once at this very moment in time.
Beginning or end, where will that happen?
Middle.
Ooh, you think they're going to do that? That's a ballsy move.
7 episodes is what's predicted at the current moment in time.
How much was
8? What, 9? 9, I think was it 9?
So why would they decrease it?
They need the extra.
So you think the episodes will be longer then?
I think they're probably like an hour and 10 minutes, like the first season. I feel like they'd probably be. But
how long was the Bill episode?
An hour and 23 minutes. It's definitely the longest of the entire series.
So good.
But the finale was 39 minutes.
Wait, what?
You don't remember that? I remember that. 39
Of course you
minutes.
would.
I got some. We've already talked about The Last of Us. I have a whole review. I don't need to come in here and rant and rave about how it's good, but it's not like play the game as well. Like do both. That's my recommendation. That's where I'm at. But let's go ahead and go through the cast. We're going to talk about some people who have already been here, and we're also going to talk about some people who have not, who are brand new. Starting with Pedro Pascal will return as Joel. There is not a announcement of how conservatively sized role this is. The Last of Us Part 2, without giving too much away, is broken up into several time jumps, whereas we have before and we have after certain events. Once again, I'm going to be vague here for spoilers and stuff like that. But if you know, you know, it's broken up into multiple sections overcrossing multiple different time lengths. And so that's, I think, we're trying to figure out what they're dealing with, how they're going to do it, how it's set up structurally. Because a lot of people didn't like how Last of Us Part 2 was structurally set up. And so I could see them wanting to change that to make some of those fans who feel...
Neil could take the opportunity to kind of fix those...
Yeah, fix the small things
issues
that people complained about. Because I don't really think any big story points that certain people want to change will change. I would be really shocked if we get a what-if scenario. That's my opinion on the situation.
How nuts would that be? I think the internet might explode.
I don't know a character that they could replace it with. That's the issue. That's my only thing. I cannot think of a character that they could replace it with.
Plus, it adds it, whether people like it or not. It adds to the story. It adds more to what happens.
Bella Ramsey will obviously be back as Ellie. Her role will be multiplied a shit ton. She will probably be the lead here. I'm nervous for her taking on such a big role, but
I think she can do it.
It should be a much heavier taking. I would say, probably my favorite episode 7 of episode 8. Is it 7 or 8?
It's 7.
Is it 7? I can't remember.
I think so.
What episode was the before, which she also was the lead of, and I thought she did a great job. Both that episode and the winter episode of season 1, the flashback episode, great, phenomenal. So yeah. All right, now we're getting to some other people will be back. Tommy will be back. I can't remember who exactly plays him.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, Diego
Luna. No, that's Andor.
That is the Andor. Who is that?
That's Andor.
Gabriel? Is it Gabriel?
Gabriel Luna.
That's what it is. Okay. Let's combine people. And also his wife, Maria, will also be back. She is from True Blood, that type of thing. That's the actress
who plays her. She's terrific in the show.
She's phenomenal in the show. All right. Those people are definitely confirmed because we're playing around Jackson. I'm sure other people will also be involved, but that's the bare minimum that you're going to get. Now we're moving into the brand new cast, the people that we weren't sure if we're going to be showing up at all this season. Has now since been confirmed. We're going to start with Dina.
And now I get to ask you, how do you feel about these castings as we go?
We'll talk about them as we go through them. We're going to start with Dina, Isabel Marcet.
I'm so happy for her.
I had thought that they were going to bring over the actress that they brought in to play a version of Dina from the first season because it looks so so accurate on character design. But once again, we weren't sure if it was just an extra that happened to be
named Dina.
Really well shaped as Dina. It looked directly like Dina. Isabel Marcet seems great. She's done a lot of press interviews saying that her and Bella Ramsey have some tremendous chemistry. And so, yeah, I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with the relationship because I definitely feel like with Last of Us Part 2 in particular, the relationship of Dina and Ellie needed way more time to expand and explore to really develop. And so now you have a show. And so you can also see Ellie with other people that's outside of Dina and really build up that relationship, which I think can help in the long run.
If Dina and Ellie got a Bill episode to build up their relationship,
I would not be mad, and I would definitely say you should probably. I would think about doing it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think it's very necessary because once again, I feel like that's one of the relationships in here.
That's pretty important.
Very important for the longevity of the show and also the different angles that we're going to be going down. But it's very underdeveloped outside of the ending.
Yeah.
Which is all I'll say. All right, moving on to characters that Zachary somewhat knows about because of me, but that's probably the extent. We also have Jesse playing by Young Mazzino. Young Mazzino is also from Beef. He was the younger brother, I want to say, in Beef, is where he came from. He's over here. He did not go to Thunderbolts. We're just mixing around, apparently. He's going to be playing Jesse. Jesse is Dina's ex-boyfriend, is all I can really say about that.
I like him.
Yeah, he has a important role and some shocking things, which that's all I can really say. I'm excited. I thought he looked pretty good as the character, so yeah. Now we're going to talk about people who are not a part of Jackson. These are people who will be in the show, but that's all I'll say for now. Caitlin Deaver was cast as Abby Anderson. I am very mixed on this casting for a lot of reasons. one, you had Katie O'Brien just sitting right there without anything to do, and would have been perfect. But that's my opinion. I understand. I do think she deserved a role in here. I think maybe Mel or somebody else would have been fine. Honestly, Dina, I know it's race bending a character, but like, I don't care. I just don't think she. I'm really curious to see what she looks like. I want a set leak. I want to see her in costume, and then I can make the executive decision.
If you would watch Justified, I think you'd be a lot more happier with the situation.
It's not so much her acting, or it's just not who I pictured. And I think also it's gonna be so hard to watch a lot of things are gonna go down because I so pictured her as Ellie, and then seeing her like, I mean, it works in that regard because it's almost like the twist, the horrible twist of the night, being like, haha, she's gonna do all these horrible things. Like, I also feel bad for Caitlin Dever for having to portray this character, and I really hope it's going to go over well with the public that it did the first time, and we're not going to get a Laura Bailey situation all over again.
I think what Caitlyn has in her favor, unfortunately, over Laura is that the game's already been out. The game's had time to kind of sit, whereas now Caitlyn has time to make this her own version of Abby while still staying with what happened in the game. But again, we're also dealing with a TV show and not a video game, whereas a TV show, I think they can make Abby a little bit more easier to digest than the game did.
It really depends on where they introduce her.
That's fair.
That, because once again, no spoilers in case you want to play The Last of Us Part 2 or watch me play it. I have several playthroughs online of it, so go ahead.
He's not kidding. Several.
I also have a new one coming out relatively soon when I play The Last of Us Part 2 again for the PS5 edition. Abby does become extremely developed of a character. It just takes time in that game.
Does she show up at a mountain first?
I would say a mountain is important. Moving on.
It's like us talking about Lord of the Rings. The mountain's important. Why? We won't tell you. Just gotta get there.
All right, the other characters, such as Danny Ramirez, who's going to be playing Manny, I thought that was a pretty good casting as well. Ariel Barra, I saw a picture of her. I'm not familiar with her as an actress, but she looked a lot like Mel, so that's fine with me. That's where we're going. Tatia Gabrielle, who was simply, she was just in Uncharted. She's also from, oh my gosh, what is that called? Sabrina Teenage Witch on Netflix. She plays
Chilling Adventures with Sabrina.
Chilling Adventures with Sabrina. Thank you. I could not think of what it was called. She's also in that. She's been in a few other things as well.
She played in Uncharted. Did she play
she played the love interest. No, she didn't. She played the villain. The villain's handyman. Woman. I can't think of her name. By the way, yeah, it is weird for me.
But hey, you know what? She's staying in Naughty Dog.
She is staying in Naughty Dog. I thought she was really good in Uncharted because I was really hoping she was playing a different role than she did. That's fine. I think she'll be fine as Nora. Nora has a very important thing, and she'll get to do a lot, which she's good at. Spencer Lord is also another controversial character from this game. He's playing Owen. That is a very close relationship with Abby, and that's all I will say as well. He has a significant age gap between him and Caitlin, which is important. That's how it is in the games. That's how it's written. I don't have anything wrong with this.
Accurate.
But I do feel bad for his character as well. I feel like it's probably going to go over a little bit better, but not greatly. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm also curious to see if they're going to do certain things with Mel that they do. They cover a lot of topics in The Last of Us Part 2. They had nothing left on the table. Interestingly enough, there are a few characters who have not been casted, such as Lev. And where the fuck is Lev? If we're doing all of this, where the fuck is Lev? That's my opinion. I'm going to move on. Because maybe they're there. I don't know. Okay.
Jacob's heart might break if Leb's not there. Hashtag justice for Leb.
I will riot.
Do you honestly think Neil will leave him out?
No, I don't. I think Lev is fine, but I'm just saying I would like to see a casting announcement because you're fucking filming. Maybe they're not on set yet, so maybe you don't have to announce it, and that's fine. But you're fucking filming.
We didn't get Perry White until they just started filming Superman. So yeah,
that's what I mean. I mean, it's very well. It's probably like a late casting.
When does it come out?
Not till next year. Not till.
So see, you have time.
We also, once again, we've only seen sets from around Jackson, so we also don't know what all they're exploring. It could be a season 3 casting.
We've seen Jackson and we've seen the mountain,
which is also near Jackson. That's all you need to know. We also have Catherine O'Hara, who is being a undisclosed role. Currently, there is a rumor that she is taking over the role that Jeffrey Wright had played in the game, which seems stupid to me. Just hire Jeffrey Wright. He's right there. He's also doing nothing. Getting nominated for an Oscar, but that's about it.
Nah, he's working on a project currently.
I guess but he has time. You can make time. It's a small role.
I'm really not a small role in that movie. You take it back. He plays a great role in that movie.
Not that movie. I'm talking about in The Last of Us. He has a small role in The Last of Us.
No, but in my movie, he's a big role. You know, it's him and him. Like he has to be there.
I feel like the role that he plays in The Last of Us could probably be in like 2 episodes, maybe an episode.
Are you really this upset that Catherine O'Hara is in your Last of Us show?
I'm not upset Catherine O'Hara's in it. Also, having seen Catherine O'Hara play an interesting character in a movie I don't want to talk about because it could give away spoilers. I think she would do fine with where she's at. But I don't want it to be another villain role, only for the simple fact that we had one so similar with the last season.
Yeah. Although I'd love to see her chops get with a villain role, like her being like dark and demented, dude.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Let's move on. Ooh, let's move on. For no reason.
I know what he's talking about. I think he just ruined the movie for me without watching it. Oh no!
I didn't try to.
Dude, that's incredible. Without saying anything, I know exactly what you're. Damn it! That's the twist.
That's one of them.
Ah, shit.
It's a pretty big one.
That's a major applause to you without talking. That's incredible.
I'm really trying not to, and my face is red because I feel embarrassed because I did it, and I was really trying, but he just kept talking.
Incredible. About it. Hey, you know what? Speaking of flying into space, random transition.
Weird transition. Let's talk about Mando. Zachary, this is all you. Go.
Oh. Well, now I have no reason to watch the movie. Anyway.
You definitely have a reason. Trust me, that is just a tipping of the iceberg.
So, the Mando and Grogu got an upgrade from going from being the sole survivor of Disney Plus, making it what it is, to shitting on itself within its 3rd season. And now, it is going from that to the big screen. And I gotta tell you, I don't care. And here's why. Here's why. Disney has made it such an inconsequential thing to care about this duo because we're not going to go with Filoni's side of the story. He is not building a giant universe around getting to a certain character from Ahsoka anymore. That's not happening. That movie is now debunked. It's gone. It's not happening. This is just going to be season 4 on steroids. And instead of it being 8 episodes, it'll be 2 hours. And let me tell you, I don't think Pedro Pascal will be here. I think it'll just be a stand-in with a helmet. The puppet's going to look fantastic. The puppet's going to look great. It'll be jumping and everything and be like, wow, look at the visual effects. I want to be excited for this. I really do. But Mando Season 3 really put a really big stain on my mouth. And I just, yeah.
Huh.
Hi.
Did you know? I wasn't trying to wave. I was just trying not to interrupt. Did you know that the Skeleton Crew is also a part of this universe? I did not know.
Is it?
Supposedly the ones that are part of the live-action Mandoverse are the Book of Boba Fett, which we didn't know. Ahsoka, obviously. Like, damn, that's... And then Skeleton Crew. I mean, Akko, I understand, takes place in a completely different timeline. Well, same timeline.
100 years.
100 years in the future, right?
Past.
It's the future. Past. No, that makes sense. Never mind. Ignore me. That makes sense.
100 years is the High Republic. 1,000 years is the Old Republic.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I had to think about it. It's all good. The rumor that it's going to be the May 22 release is what it's going to be. We'll see. I mean, Patty Jenkins just said she's back to production on her Star Wars movie.
I don't want to talk about it. It's a bunch of nonsensical bullshit. I'm tired of talking about these Star Wars movies being, hey, we're here. Hey, we're not. Hey, we're here. Hey, I'm done.
My opinion, I was just saying we have several release dates, May 22nd, December 18th, and December 17th of 2027, to put it somewhere. And I'm just saying Skeleton Crew could be one of those too. That's all. Not
Skeleton Crew is a show, Jacob, not a
Squadron
movie.
Children. Sorry, the Squadron movie.
I don't care.
I understand.
You want to know why? Because she's like, it's back now. A month later, we're gonna hear they lost creator due to creative differences again.
So my only thing here, okay.
Sorry, I'm so heated. I want Star Wars to be good again. God damn it.
My only thing is I think Star Wars is fine, but I've also never felt like Star Wars was above anything else than fine outside of its animation. Animation, give it all the awards. It's perfect. It's almost too good. That's part of the problem, to be honest with you.
The Bad Batch, by the way. Holy shit.
They maybe should not give him another animated show. Which seems
wrong.
No,
Bad Batch is good.
No. What I'm saying is that maybe the issue is we're seeing how good Star Wars could be. We need to take that away and just accept for Star Wars what it is.
I think Star Wars should just be animated at this point.
Well, that's not going to happen for sure.
I know.
Especially because it didn't start out. It'd be different if it started out animated, and it definitely did not. So it's definitely going to stay live action.
I know, but without talking about it, a trailer dropped today, and I'm just like...
No, get off. We're moving on. We're talking about Mandalorian and Grogu. Do not switch us over. The Acolyte is when we're filming this for anybody out want to have context.
Are you excited for this at all, Jacob?
I would say if they age up Baby Grogu, just a little bit. I want to hear him talk. I don't know, maybe he does talk. Don't spoil that. 2 episodes. How much could happen? A lot, apparently. Apparently. But either way, I don't know. I'm not. I would say let's figure out the full cast for it outside of Pedro and the baby, and let's figure out where it's placed in the timeline. Like, are we going ahead in the future? Also, are we going to have supporting characters such as like Ahsoka or anybody else pop over here? Like, that's my curiousness, because it is Dave Filoni. He is directing and writing it, and things.
He's not. No, this is not Filoni.
Yeah, this is Filoni.
No, this is Jon Favreau.
You right.
Again, Dave Filoni's project is done. It's not happening. Now, hang on. Let me ask this question again. Jacob, how do you feel about the Mando Grogu movie?
It could be fine.
Here's the thing. I love Jon Favreau as a director. I think he does a great job. However, him and Filoni need to work together, not separate.
Yeah, it does seem like they're going to be producing it together, but that could mean nothing nowadays. Dave Filoni is so busy. He's basically running Star Wars that, like, he might not have time. Make the fucking time. That's my opinion. Make the fucking time. I don't know. I can tell you this much. If you want to watch Star Wars in timeline order, fuck you. You're just fucked.
I am. Here's a brief synopsis about Mando and Grogu. The Mandalorian broke ground as the first Star Wars live-action series on Disney+. It did, and I loved it at the time. And a lot of that success was thanks to a little baby Yoda creature named Grogu. Now, both the Mandalorian and Grogu are making their way to the big screen in an upcoming film titled, wait for it, The Mandalorian and Grogu. Which, by the way, what the fuck is that title?
It could change. We're so far out. It could still change.
Now, here's my thing. If we're going with the Filoni-verse idea of this being Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, all this, that means before we get this movie, we need Ahsoka Season 2, we need the Skeleton Crew, and possibly a second possible season of Book of Boba Fett, which that will happen. So basically, we need Ahsoka Season 2 and Skeleton Crew to happen before this movie comes out. That means we're probably putting this movie around 2027, 2028, probably around that range.
Oh, so maybe it is December 1 for 2027. There's a rumor it's supposed to start filming this year. That's just the only reason why I put it next year, or 2026.
But here's my thing. Why film it right now? Let these other 2 projects get out and then start filming. That way you're not going to go like, well, this happened in the movie, but it's not going correctly what happened within the show. You're basing this whole thing on the Disney Plus stuff. It has to all function.
It really depends on where they put it. Where in timeline is it? That's my opinion.
If they're dealing with a blue man in a white suit, it has to be after the events of Ahsoka Season 2.
Well, we don't know, though. That's the problem. The unknowing. The unknown. Okay, that being said, that is Mando. Zachary, obviously, not that excited. Me, I'm a bit more on the mixed bag.
I was, but
Yeah, if I would have asked him this like a month ago, I think this conversation would even be
very
slightly
different. But then all the other random Star Wars shit's just been going on, and I'm like, I'm watching such good Star Wars in cartoon form, and then you watch some stuff from live action, you go, what went wrong?
We might need to take a little break for me to make food and do a trailer reaction because I feel like I need to watch this thing. If it is really just like messed up his day.
Again, Carrie-Ann Moss looks fantastic, but the rest of the trailer is like, I want to crush a cup.
Okay, so Daredevil Born Again. I'll take the lead here.
This is yours.
I mean, technically it is. We're going back and forth. It's a shared bureaucracy. What is that the word? What is the word?
Bureaucracy. Democracy for Super Earth. Sorry.
My brain is not working today, and this is time. It's a time. All right, we're going to talk about Daredevil Born Again. Now, if you guys did not know, they filmed 6 episodes of Daredevil Born Again. So swiftly canceled those 6 episodes and the 18+ season that they had already ordered. Now we don't know how long it's going to be, and it's getting rewritten completely. The SAG strike really did a number on this thing.
So I think it's for good things.
Yeah. This is going to be a true season 4 to Daredevil from Netflix is what it's changed into. Originally, it was going to be more onto the same creative side that they were doing with Daredevil currently in Marvel. He's popped up in the Spider-Man No Way Home, She-Hulk Turning the Wall. He has a very short little cameo in Echo. But in this case, they have now decided to bring. I can tell you where they were because I don't know here's the thing. I don't know what they kept and what they didn't keep. So we still have Charlie Cox coming back as Matt Murdock, but now we have Deborah Ann Wool coming back as Karen Page and Eldon Henson as Foggy as well. We also have Kingpin coming back. He'll be in this.
Bullseye.
Vincent D'Onofrio is working. Like they're like, we got you. We're gonna put you in as many things as we can. Here, go.
And I don't think D'Onofrio's complaining. He's been wanting to play Kingpin a lot since the show ended. So I don't think him and Cox are complaining at all.
Oh no, I do agree. I think they're very excited to be here. Punisher will be back, played by
John
Bernthal. Then also Zachary just talked about Bullseye will also be here.
Bullseye got confirmed about 2 weeks ago, and we've seen him on set already.
Wilson Bethel? Is that?
Yes, he's fantastic in Daredevil season 3. I'm so happy he's coming back.
Yeah, his costume and everything is out. We're not going to look at those photos because I don't want to spoil anything.
But he looks.
But he is there. There is rumors that Elektra is also going to be in this. I'm not entirely sure how they're going to do that if you've seen Daredevil, but there is a rumor that she is supposed to pop up here.
Well,
the actress who plays her.
If you've seen Defenders, it doesn't make sense to see
show also back Daredevil up. Season 3. I mean, just in general, it just doesn't make sense. But we'll see. The actress.
I would look for her to come back. I think the actress who plays her does a great job.
I can understand wanting to have her as a player on the board for other things outside Daredevil, just in general. I could see that being also with the amount of press they got with Jennifer Gardner coming back. That was an announcement. That's not a spoiler. And Deadpool and Wolverine, it was such a big deal. I can also wanting to see them getting their actual version of Elektra in the MCU. The writers and stuff changed. They are now going to be the writers who did Punisher. That's the person who's making this, which I don't think is a bad idea. I think Punisher overall was a great show. Not everything was perfect, but enough was good that I would say this is fine. It's going to do a fine job. More than likely, it will be TVMA because Echo did just fine, which means it's good enough to move forward with as a weekly release, in my opinion. That should
not be our basis standard for the TVMA in the Marvel
sure is, universe. But that's what we're doing. Also, with the excitement of Deadpool and Wolverine, which is definitely a hard R, I think we're all under. I think Daredevil Born Again should be TVMA.
Well, yeah. I mean, Blade's being talked about being a rated R movie too. So I'm like, I think Marvel's officially kind of given up on that whole fact of them not being an R-rated universe. Like some projects need to be that rating, and some projects don't.
So other things to talk about, some more interesting things. Let's talk about the casting of Deborah Ann Wool and Henson being brought back in to play both Karen and Foggy. The original idea because they were never not supposed to be here, but they were blipped was what it was. And Daredevil originally was going to be taking place in that weird period of time that Marvel hasn't really done yet, which is during the blip period where, those 4 years. That's where Daredevil Born Again was supposed to take place. I'm pretty sure that has since changed, so I hope that's not a big spoiler or anything. But that's what they originally were filming was in that period of time. I'm perfectly fine with them moving it. I'd like them to be more in line with actual timeline currently. So if that's what they're doing, that's fine.
If we're going off of Echo, it'll take place after Echo because of the end credit scene within Echo. I think that would make more sense.
Yeah, once again, haven't seen Echo, so not entirely sure. At this point, I think I'm going to watch it by myself. So I'll let you know when I get there. Either way, with that also being said, the actors were never ever talked to. They were never contacted when they were bringing back Daredevil. This was a very shocking thing. Deborah Hamill has come out about several times on several different podcasts and interviews while promoting other works of hers, saying that she would love to be a part of Daredevil if they would give her a call. Eventually, I guess they did give her a call, which is good. I'm happy for these characters.
Do you know why they finally gave them a call?
No.
You know who stopped the calls? Bob Chapek.
Oh,
it was the original. It was the original CEO of Disney. He wanted it to be like, no, we're not getting anybody else to who we have here, and just go. And so there's an interview out right now about Bob Chapek's ruling of Marvel while he was under. Go read it. It's on Variety. It's a fantastic read. But he just wanted to crank stuff out because he took away all of the power from Kevin Feige and gave it to a banker. And so the banker was like, I don't care. Just get these stuffs going. And that's why Daredevil was being produced so quickly. And hence why they scrapped it. And now they're going more with the actual canon of Daredevil with them still being there. And I'm really glad they're there. I think the show wouldn't have worked without Karen or Foggy being there.
So, a little bit more extra information. Dario Scarpane is the person who wrote The Punisher, produced it, did all that fun stuff, taken on as series creator. The original creator is Ord and Coleman, who originally came up with the idea for Born Again, is now moved over to directly just executive producing roles, which I think is fine from what I understand. Based on
Stephen Knight working on this at all? The original guy who did Daredevil?
No, Stephen Knight will not be a part of this whatsoever. They did not bring him back. I'm sure he is in some type of credited form just because of the characters and the world and stuff.
I'm sure him and Kevin probably talked before he did something.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the lowest, though. Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, people who directed from Marvel already, such as Moon Knight and Loki, are going to be the main directors.
Oh, that makes me excited.
There obviously will be more directors, and once again, the order of 18 episodes is also not going to be the same. A lot of people are thinking 13, like they did for Netflix originally.
I think it'll be 13.
Would still be longer.
Yeah.
I would say maybe 10 is better. I would even go for the 8 that they're doing current. I would say 10. Let's go 10. With 10. I'm okay with 10. 13 was never. I always felt like too long for a Netflix Marvel show. I didn't think they had enough story to begin with.
To do anything with.
So my personal opinion, I think 10 is a sweet spot, and I think all Marvel shows should be moving over to 10 episodes.
10.
About an hour long. I'm okay at 45 minutes if there's 10. I'll take what I can get, but this is where I'm at. And stop writing shows you cannot physically, produce.
Finish.
If you don't have the budget,
don't do it.
Don't do it. I'm fine with being like, we're going to go for it. But think about
dude. I cannot wait for you to watch Echo and watch them go for it.
See, I always do. I'm always a champion for people who are like, we're doing it. Even if in my brain, I'm like, maybe you shouldn't do it.
Well, see, that was my biggest issue. I hate using this as the example but for me it was the finale of She-Hulk. I think that went way too hard for no reason.
I really liked it. I thought it was really fun. I'm really excited they won for it because it's such a very important part of her character, especially in comic books, especially the comic books that they were developing. I don't necessarily know if I agree with the way they did, went with it and things like that, but I liked the idea of it enough that was cool. I still do agree that I think having the Feige bot be canon,
just a little.
I don't know if that was the smartest move in the world, but it is. We can't go back. You know what I mean?
No, but I agree with you. Most Disney Plus shows go too hard at the beginning, and then don't have enough to do anything for the end. Like my biggest example for this is Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think Obi-Wan starts out so strong, and then you get to him and Vader fighting in a rock chasm. Like that's as far as you was able to go. Like give him a little bit more. Because when you look at like Mandalorian and you get to the end of Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2, I'm like, damn, they fucking went for it. And then you watch season 3 and you go, yep, there goes the gas.
Yeah. I would agree. I would definitely agree with that 100%. All right, with that being said, let's move on to
So how
Zachary.
but overall you're
right,
feeling
sorry.
good, but overall you're feeling good with Daredevil though?
I feel like it's a much stronger feeling that I've had in a long while. So yeah, no, I definitely
Do we
would
have any
say
idea when this comes out?
no. Nope.
When do you think it would happen?
Next year, maybe the beginning of the year after, late next year.
You're thinking like probably fall 25, winter 26?
Yeah, somewhere in I would put it in that will type of thing.
I think this would be a great end of the year thing for them would be Daredevil.
It would be super curious if they are going to drop it all at once or if it's going to be like a slow release.
I think we get the release for this closer than we find out when Spider-Man 4 comes out because we know Daredevil is an integral role to Spider-Man 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably assume they probably won't have these closer together because I think Kingpin will probably be somewhat involved in Spider-Man. So probably have them closer together.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's a good idea. That's a good thought. I'm just not entirely sure, just for the simple fact of when that's going to come out.
Yeah,
like they're still in negotiating.
I can't believe we're dealing with the whole negotiation things again with them.
Well, I mean, they're not like it's not between Sony; it's between actors. Actors like Tom Holland still negotiating his pay, and like I mean, the writers like that type of thing. Everybody's on board. Everybody's like, yes, let's do. I'm sure Sony like, can we?
Please God, give us a Spider-Man 4.
I would really like us to do another one. Can we do one more?
Did you see they want to add Ant-Man to the mix of that movie?
Yes, I did. That was part of the stories we did not cover.
I think it's such a bad idea. I love Paul Rudd so much. I'm so excited for Ghostbusters, but dude, your Ant-Man movies are just not.
I mean,
I love Ant-Man, and I kind of like Ant-Man the Wasp, but Quantumania is just a.
See, it's so interesting. He absolutely loved that movie. He loved that movie.
I really loved Wonder Woman 1984 when I left the theater.
This is true. This is why I always say I had to see the movie first in theaters and then at home because it does change your perspective.
It really did, because watching that movie on a nice old TV, woohoo!
Yeah, no, that's definitely my thought. Okay, Zachary, you can go over to. I'm setting up the last story, so you're good.
Alrighty, so let me get rid of that guy. The Paramount sweepstakes. Who wins? Everybody's like, what do you mean there's a sweepstakes on Paramount right now? No. People are trying to buy the company. That's what's going on here. We're not giving away Paramount Plus as a sweepstake here. No.
I was really curious to see what you were doing with this, and
so people. So currently, right now, Paramount is for sale. People are looking into buying it and merging it into their companies. Originally, the highest bidder was Warner Brothers Discovery. Since February, Warner Bros. Has dropped out, and there are two major companies still going for it, and that would be Skydance, the company that does Star Trek, and underneath where J.J. Abrams is, Skydance Media. They would be the ones are going for it.
Okay.
And then Allen Media Group. I don't know who that is. Brian Allen's Allen Media Group or something.
Not entirely sure, but that's okay. Competitors are going to compete.
There also remains the possibility Paramount Global won't be sold, at least for the time being. So there is also a possibility that no one puts a bet in and Paramount could just be by itself. The reason why Paramount is going through all this right now is because they are losing a shit ton of money currently on Paramount Plus. And everybody's like, well, wasn't Disney doing the same thing? Yes, but Disney's also Disney. They have the amusement parks. They have toy sales. They have all this. Paramount has Transformers and Ninja Turtles as their toy sales. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles last year was the highest selling toy of the year for Mutant Mayhem stuff. So they were making money on the toy side, but Paramount Plus is losing them so much money. They keep putting out quality content, but it's hurting them in the long run, and so they can't afford to keep afloat. And so they also really weren't doing great last year when it came to the money. Obviously, both Mutant Mayhem and Rise of the Beast did well for them. They were hoping Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning would be a bigger hit than it was. It was not. And so they are definitely more on the other end of like, how do we keep going? And so they put themselves up for sale. Warner Brothers, I think, would have been a brilliant move for them. I think both catalogs go very well together. I know Zaslav obviously trying to get rid of Warner Brothers right now because he wants to buy it, make it good, and then sell it for a better profit. That's what he wants to do. I personally think Universal should
He
get in this mix.
also wants to sell. He's a very big into selling it, trying to sell it to Universal, Warner Brothers, and Universal combining into one.
Here's the thing. When this all started with Disney and Fox back in 2019 with the Disney Fox merger, and I think of everybody, that one made the most sense. I think 20th Century Studios works really well within the Disney brand, and so because Hulu, Disney Plus, I think they all work really well together. Paramount is such a foundational instrument within Hollywood. Like the Paramount logo is something I knew more as a kid than the Universal logo, which is crazy to me. But I knew because I watched Indiana Jones a lot when I was a kid. I knew Paramount more, and Warner Brothers, Universal, and Paramount are three important stages in Hollywood. Merging them all together, I think, takes away from what those studios are and what they do as a brand. However, if I could put two of them together, I would do Paramount Universal. I think their brands and their IP mashed together very, very well. I think it'd be really interesting to see that. Same thing with Sony. I think Sony would be an interesting one to get in on this. But as of right now, WB is out. They're not going in for the sale anymore. And so right now it looks like Skydance and Allen's Media Group are the two. I don't know much about either of them, but within all of this, I'm like, Paramount, I hope you figure something out. I'm looking forward to your stuff this year. You're putting out some really good stuff this year on Paramount Plus. How do you feel about the whole Paramount situation and merging in general? Like, how do you feel about that concept?
See, merging just makes me think of cable. Because I'm thinking, what does that mean for us? Like, yes, cool. Crossovers, of course, always fun. It's always a fun time. Who
doesn't want to see Fast and Furious meet Optimus Prime?
Exactly. It could be a good time. Vin Diesel?
It would be a lot of fun.
I'm just saying, there could be something there. Maybe
the cars already do crazy things. Turning into robots, that wouldn't be out of part.
It really wouldn't be that far out of reach, to be honest with you. Honestly, I feel like they would have a field day. I would take a special over a full movie.
T-Rex, the robots, and the cars.
I would take a special over a movie, but that's my opinion. Either way, I'm thinking longevity here because Paramount Plus, Paramount Plus is already adding more things to their used to be Showtime, and then they combined into Showtime. Now they're adding, I can't remember what the newest one that they just put on there is, that you can pay an extra $5 a month for.
I can tell you.
I have no idea. They keep offering. Every time I get on the app, they're like, "Hey, do you want to purchase this upgrade?"
And no, but here's the thing: I love the app. But the app sucks.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's not the best, but it's great. I do recommend it, even if it's not great. But I have a feeling that streaming in itself is going to turn into cable. Mm-hmm. I mean, with the rumor going around that Disney is officially now starting to float out password sharing and password crackdowns and stuff, I don't think that's going to go very well. I'm going to be honest with you. I can understand why they want to do it.
I'm telling you that right now.
Well, I can understand why they're doing it because Netflix did see a huge spike in their stock, and Disney really needs a huge spike in their stock. And so once again, I get where they're coming from.
Business-wise, it makes sense.
But logically, I don't think it's going to go over well with the people. I think a lot more people will turn on you better than Netflix. Also, Disney has such a certain amount of content and a certain type of content that Netflix has a much variety where people, I think, justified it.
I think Disney gets churned more than Netflix. Those people churn out Disney, like they come in, watch Marvel and Star Wars, and then they go away.
Unless you have a baby or a 4-year-old. And then if you have a baby or 4-year-old, you probably
Disney
pay
Plus
for
just
it
stays
yearly.
on there for a full year.
because you're paying for it the full year. You're not even giving them monthly payments. It's like you're paying the 100 and like what is it now?
It's $140.
100. Wow, damn, that's like really gone up since we first got. It was like $70, right? For that
When I
first
bought
month.
when I bought Disney Plus originally for the initial year, it was $90.
$90. That's what it was. Yeah, that's a $50 price bump. You know what I mean? I mean, it's nowhere near as bad as Netflix. Netflix for a year subscriptions over $200, which is basically what's the point, which is good cable again, in
At
my
that,
opinion. And that's what we're going to be moving into. If they all start combining, that means their streaming service has to go up in price because that means they have to build a streaming service that can comply with Paramount and whatever, like let's say
yeah,
Peacock. They have to combine the two together. You know, um,
Paracock.
yep. Good old Paracock, where you stream the best. There's no porn on it though, even though it sounds like there should be.
We have such good long format content.
You're looking for narration? This is the place to come.
We really shoot the show.
Either way, my opinion on it is it makes me more nervous than anything. I also feel sad for all the big studios dying out. I mean, also it's not gonna be as fun talking about the box office when they're all just one big
The
happy
same
family.
thing.
It's like who's fighting who? Like this is the point of the box office. The Paramount movie going up against a Sony movie. Who's gonna win the battle?
But you also bring up a great point. We've always talked about how when studios put films really close to each other, you're basically cannibalizing yourself. If they continue to merge, they continuously cannibalize on themselves. So even if one like movie's like doing really, really well and one's doing really, really shitty, you're still making but also losing at the same time. Like there's no win there.
Like a lot of people were talking about how Godzilla vs. Kong comes out in 2 weeks, right? It's next Friday.
29th.
And that's Warner Brothers cannibalizing on itself because Dune 2 is doing so well. And
Past $500 million this week.
If Godzilla vs. Kong was just coming out like 2 weeks later or something, that give more time for Dune 2 to like really, build up. But also like you're taking away from screens and things. Like I feel bad for Ghostbusters, for instance. They're not playing on any big screens except for Dolby. They're not getting any IMAX.
My biggest screen is a D-box.
Yep. They're not getting any IMAX or anything because Dune 2 is like, no, bitch, we are staying here. You can suck it off.
And for good, you'll know. For good reason.
I will know. It's officially confirmed. I am seeing it on Friday. So that was confirmed while we were having this conversation.
So we can finally do a review of Dune together. And I got to tell you, that's pretty exciting.
It might be so exciting that I might opt for us to just sit down to do one instead of adding it into a podcast. Is it one of those movies?
That's how important this film is, ladies and gentlemen.
We will see. Hype is high, so we will see.
I really hope this is another Spider-Man thing again. Like,
no idea. But either way, with that being said, we're going to end with a fun little thing because, well, we have the time and might as well.
We did high five. Good job on us today.
Let's go ahead. I did pull up. This is going to be a shared ranking instead of a dual ranking.
Much like our what if ranking that we did a couple weeks ago.
More than likely, what will happen is I pulled up a tier, as one does.
Okay.
And in this tier, it's pretty simple. I don't feel like changing it because that takes too much time. We have S, top tier, best movies of all time. A, up there, not great, but it's real good. B, you see the F, horrible, don't recommend. Haven't watched. Technically, there is one in here, but I still want to rank it. Is that wrong?
No. We put Shazam: Fury of the Gods and haven't watched.
Fine. Hold on. We'll just put it there when it pops up. I did try my hardest. You can let me know. Did I put this in the correct order? Did these movies come out when there's a
the Justice League and Aquaman need to switch.
Okay.
And then let me look here. Then we went Justice League and then Aquaman and then Shazam. 84. Let's pray. Justice League. Yep. That's it.
Okay, then with Peacemaker, because it technically is part of both universes, which is confusing, but it is what it is. Are we ranking it?
You haven't watched it, so I don't know how you can rank it.
Well, it would be you. You would place it where you would.
Well, then we'll get to it when we get to it.
All right, starting with Man of Steel. The way this is going to work, we're going to debate.
Jesus. Hey guys, you were wondering why is this podcast so short? Here's your other hour.
We're going to debate. Zachary's going to say S. I'm going to say B, and then we're going to decide with A. I think this is how this is probably going to go.
Okay, so Man of Steel.
Man of Steel.
Man of Steel should go in the A.
No, I mean, I just placed it somewhere so it could be on the screen. But like,
but it should go A.
You don't think it's S tier?
No. I still have issues with the movie, but I think it should go A.
I will compromise on A. My personal opinion, it's more like a B or C tier, but I don't have doubles, which was really annoying, and I didn't think this through far enough, as you can tell. But that's fine. I didn't have much time to set this up.
So here's the thing. Batman vs Superman has the theatrical edition and has the Ultimate Edition.
All these, except for the obvious one in the bunch, don't know who that is. Outside of them, it's all theatrical runs.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Oh, then BVS goes to D.
Did you say D tier?
Yeah.
I was still at C tier, but like...
No, this goes D.
Okay. What's your response? Why? Why D tier?
Because no matter how much I love Ben Affleck's Batman, the movie makes no sense. It's hypothetical nonsense. Lex Luthor is a jittering idiot, and Doomsday sucks.
See, my personal opinion. See, this is why I hate the Ultimate Cut. And I've said this many times, and Zachary's going to feel offended. And you know what? Let him feel offended. That's my opinion. The Ultimate Cut is for idiots. I've said it time and time and time again. If you like the Ultimate Cut, it's because you're a little dumb. Because to me, sorry, it's really rude, but Batman versus Superman is so straightforward in what it's trying to do. It's almost too annoyingly straightforward, which is why the Ultimate Cut to me is so stupid, because it's just like bears down everything else it's trying to bear down.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
That's not what I'm saying.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but the pacing in the Ultimate Cut is significantly better than the other one.
Not when it adds 30 minutes of blah.
It adds 30 minutes of intrigue and
blah, and also
it makes it more to do.
Oh, and don't get it wrong, guys. Don't get it twisted here. It also explains everything in such great detail that basically you don't need to watch the movie because it's all just right there. It's so annoying. There's nothing intriguing.
Hey, I put it at D. You were shocked about that.
I was. I'm still gonna diss on the Ultimate Cut because it deserves it. Okay, Suicide Squad. Now you know it.
No. Listen.
It brings me so much joy.
No, what? In reality, where would you put it? C,
it's definitely in here.
No, I'd give it a D.
I would not. Not 100 years.
Okay, why? Explain B. Explain B.
So yes, the story's a bit right. Yeah, I get that. But the introduction is so good. The characters are maybe I have to do C. I can't go any lower.
I'll compromise and do C.
I can't go any lower.
Jacob, the only reason why this movie ranks so high for you is because of the one and only Harley Quinn and how good she's represented in the movie.
Is this too many categories?
No.
Okay. All right, moving on. Wonder Woman.
S.
I would also agree with S. Outside of the third act, which is kind of clunky, I do agree.
It's a near perfect movie.
It's a near perfect movie. And we just watched it not that long ago, and we both...
It still holds up so well.
It's an S.
F.
Objectively, if there's only one movie that comes out here saying F tier, it's definitely...
No, that's not true at all. I will fight you for one of them.
Ooh, I wonder which other one you think is an F tier. Zachary, how do you feel about the first Aquaman?
Put it in B.
I'm actually thinking it's like a C tier. Like I would say it was probably maybe it was a little bit better than Suicide Squad. I guess that's how we should be looking at this, right?
Yeah.
So Wonder Woman S tier, sure. Man of Steel, I would also say is probably up there, right? So this is where it gets a little dicey here. You know what?
Aquaman is significantly better than both BVS and Suicide Squad.
I'm gonna play it in D. I'm gonna compromise with you. I'm gonna play it in D just because logically speaking, I think there is a movie on this list that deserves a C tier that's better than both these movies that we've not gotten to yet.
I'm
So
curious to see where we put that.
the first
Shazam,
is
S.
I'm gonna say A.
I no, I think it's the best DCEU movie.
I'm still gonna say A.
I'll compromise and give you A.
Now, can you explain to me why you think it's the best DCEU movie?
Because it hits every factor I want in a superhero film. It adds family, intrigue, the action's great, the humor is terrific. Zachary Levi, before he went insane, is incredible in this movie as Shazam, and it also gave me two of my favorite performances in children, with Billy and his brother. And also, I think the villain in that movie does not get enough credit. He is terrifying.
I think I'd have to rewatch it. I could see.
I love that movie to death.
I'm gonna go with A. You compromise a lot with me, but
I'll go A.
We can always rehash later on for sure.
For sure.
Wonder Woman 1984.
D.
In my opinion, is a perfect C tier level movie.
I go D.
You think this movie?
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, now I need to think about seeing it in theater.
Listen, I understand where you're at. In the theater, you and I both loved this movie, but you have to think about it outside of the film. Do you really like the Steve Trevor stuff?
No.
Do you really like Cheetah?
Yes.
Do you really like Maxwell Lord?
Yes.
Okay, fine. It's the Steve Trevor stuff that we should put into D.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, my question here, because this is the only one with multiple films in this category. What's your ranking of this?
Of this? Okay, that's easy. It goes Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, then Batman.
Oh, Batman's the worst.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll still watch 84 and Suicide Squad over BVS.
I 100% agree with that statement.
Birds of Prey, though? Put that next to Justice League.
No, I disagree.
No.
Yes, I am not.
So hard to watch.
I can't do it. I have seen this movie so many times, especially in the past year. Oh my god, my watch count of Birds of Prey has gone. I don't know why. I like every week I get an inkling. Ooh, what about?
Do you think Barbie helped with this little scenario?
I really don't know, because objectively speaking, I can understand where you're coming from. Like, I understand 100, and I ain't even going to compromise. I'm just going to put it in D. I don't think it's nearly as bad as Justice League, in my opinion.
No, however, it's not as nearly as bad as BVS. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that I also do. It's like Wonder Woman 1984 is a smidge better.
Yeah.
So smidge. This is where I think it lays, because character-wise, some of the worst, for sure. Yeah. But like almost everything else, I enjoy so much.
The action in that movie is really good. I will give you that.
All right, moving on. Next, there's Justice League.
Can we both agree on this one?
I don't know. You hesitated.
S.
Okay. Woo. Yes, S tier. It is.
S.
It's this.
You just can't get any better. You really can't.
Now, Man of Steel or Shazam? I would say Shazam is a little better than Man of Steel. What are your thoughts on this?
Man of Steel is too much of an important film for me to not put it to put it after.
That's fine. Is this okay for you, Justice League being better than Wonder? Yeah.
Really? You think you think it's better?
I do think it's better. I think thematically and things, I think it's better. Also, I have to say, if we're talking about Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman here, I like Wonder Woman better in Justice League than
I do in Wonder Woman. Yeah.
So I mean, it plays a factor. Now, personally, to me, Suicide Squad is an F tier movie. That's my opinion. But there's two people here, and so we got to figure it out.
This is an A all day.
Okay, so we got to look at this because we have several movies here, right? I don't think it's an A. I think it's
Will you compromise with C?
I was thinking C, because I do think it's a little bit better than the original, story-wise. Even if Harley Quinn pisses me the fuck off.
I agree with you on that.
And the villain. Oh. But
what, Starro?
I hate Starro. Hate Starro so
Why?
much.
It's a starfish. It doesn't
Also,
do
King
anything
Shark.
except
Oh,
kill.
Zachary. The more I talk about it, the more I hate it.
King Shark's fantastic.
I fucking hate King Shark so much.
He has one of the best scenes in the movie.
One of the worst scenes in the movie.
When they're in the car and he's looking at this couple that gets to hold each other and love each other, he realizes he can never have that. It's a beautiful scene, and he
Yeah,
sees the
it's
family he
horrible because it's
actually
not
has.
very. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
So C's good.
I will compromise for C. Ironically, it's
Good,
weighted.
because you have to compromise with me again. Peacemaker's S tier.
So Peacemakers haven't watched. Oh, that's how we compromise.
Fine.
Zachary can say S all he wants.
It's
But
S.
I haven't
It's
watched,
S.
so
It's
we
a
can't.
perfect show.
We can't. Put it in here. My personal opinion, even though I have seen 4 of the 8 episodes, so I've seen part of it. It's more like a B, maybe a C, possibly a D tier level for me.
If you'll go with me at B, I'll be fine.
But it's behind Aquaman.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Black
F.
Adam. F.
F.
See,
F. F. F.
my-
F.
my-
F.
Hold on. My opinion on this, my only thing, I would rather watch Black Adam than Justice League.
Yeah,
I'd also
I agree.
rather watch Black Adam than Batman versus Superman.
But here's the thing, though. I may not like Batman vs Superman. The quality of directing and filmmaking in BVS is 10 times better than the stuff in Black Adam.
It'd just be more simpler if I hadn't seen it.
Also, the villain in Black Adam is worse than Justice League.
I'm gonna go there. It's gonna go there. I don't know if I agree with that, but we have time to change. Because I can definitely think of another movie that deserves 2 more movies that deserve an F spot. At least. All right, we haven't seen Snake for Gods, but this is where it goes. Okay. Now we're getting to the rest of the. So we reacted to The Flash. We did not react to Blue Beetle, but we also reacted to Aquaman. The Flash.
This is so tough because
objectively was like a really bad movie for me. But
I will watch The Flash again.
I could probably compromise and put it in like a
C. Just feels too high.
I thought I was thinking too. I was gonna say C because I feel like it's on the same level for me personally as Suicide Squad. But
let's put it in D.
Where at?
And I want to put it ahead of Suicide Squad. I can watch The Flash over Suicide Squad.
Okay.
You can't?
I don't know.
Is it because of certain reasons, or is it just because of the movie?
Just the movie. I think it's fine. It's fine. We'll put it there. This is A tier, right? For you?
Yes.
Okay. That's good. At least that one's easy. We both agree.
No, that's an easy A.
Okay.
That's on the level of Shazam.
I think it's a little better.
Blue Beetle's better than Shazam.
Yeah, the villain maybe. No, we'll put it below. We'll put it after because the villain I think is better in Shazam, and that's the only thing I can really compare it to outside of the
and the last one's an F, Jake.
Oh.
No, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
No. There you go. That's better. No.
I truly did hate that movie. You're right. I gave it like a 1.5.
We did not like that film. We have both at least semi-enjoyed elements of Black Adam. So, looking at this list currently, we have in the F tier, we have Black Adam, Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom, and Justice League. In the D tier, we have Flash, music video, 84, Birds of Prey, and Dawn of Justice. We have the Suicide Squad. We have Aquaman and John Cena. In A tier, we have Henry Cavill, Zachary Levi, and the best DCU movie currently. And in S tier, we have one of the best superhero films of all time with a terrific film with a terrible third act.
That's better than all of these movies.
Yes.
Objectively speaking.
Objectively.
Even with a bad third act.
Yeah.
Okay, I think with the compromises, because we both got to place them where we wanted to, type of thing. I think my list would be a little different. Suicide Squad being an F tier, but everything else I would say is pretty much that's pretty good.
So hang on, let this be a debate. Let's put Suicide Squad where it honestly needs to be. Let's fight this out. I've been wanting to do this with you for a long time. Oh, I would do this with you over Peacemaker. I will do it with you with this movie. I will fight you.
I think Peacemaker is just a bad show. I hated watching it.
No, I'm not talking about Peacemaker. Let's focus on.
Yeah, sure. We can focus on
Let's focus on this. Okay. So you go first with your rebut of why it should be an F, and I'll rebut you with why it should be, I think, at least a B.
Well, it's so funny that he thinks it's a B because I'm definitely not compromising above a C, but that's fine. I have the control.
Let's do this.
Okay. So my personal opinion, and
because we didn't review this when it came out.
We did not review it. I think did we watch it? I don't think we watched it.
We watched it. No, we watched it together in theaters.
Yeah.
It was one of the last things we did before I went home.
I also have never seen it again. I'd like to reiterate, I hated it so much that I decided it was not worth it. There's a lot of factors here. Okay. So one of the biggest ones overall is disappointment, for sure. The original Suicide Squad sure is really low on this list. And if we're just simply going by Jacob's 2016 enjoyment, I would honestly declare in 2016 Jacob's head, this is the best DCEU movie. Outside of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Objectively, that is the best. But this is S tier for me, up there with Wonder Woman. So I had high expectations going into this one. Yeah, sure. Take out some of the personal feelings aside of, some of the choices that were made behind camera.
Let's talk about the choices. I want to get this all on the table.
Well, no, I don't really think objectively that's anything affecting my rating of the movie. Oh,
wouldn't it be though?
It's really not. Honestly, the only slight thing that I could say about this is the fact that James Gunn did write it, and I absolutely hate how James Gunn writes female characters. I hate it with such the highest passion in the world that that's what makes me nervous for any type of Superman, like we talked about. I'm really excited for that cast, but I'm also kind of nervous about it for those reasons. Outside of that factor, and I've never liked how James Gunn's written his female characters in any movie I've ever seen that he's been the writer and director or whatever behind. Never have enjoyed it. I think he does a horrible job, in my personal opinion. Other people have opinions. I know people who absolutely love how certain characters were portrayed in certain things. This one's interesting because I think Harley Quinn as a self played a big factor in my hatred for this movie for sure, which Zachary already knows. She was so different in Suicide Squad that I couldn't be mad at what they were doing there because it was so new. It was so fresh that I was like, oh, okay, I'm here for the ride, right? But when they brought her back for Birds of Prey, I didn't like anything, like she's not my favorite part of that movie. She's not the reason why I keep coming back to watch it over and over again. There's other parts of the movie that I think are better. Suicide Squad is the same case here. But the problem here is that there was nothing else here that I liked. Harley Quinn got me to sit down to watch the movie, but because I feel like she is so horribly betrayed here, there's nothing else in the movie that I enjoyed. I didn't really like the action. I thought maybe one or two were okayly done, but I didn't really care for it. I didn't care for the opening. I didn't really care for many of the characters. I liked the fact that it brought I can't think of her name, but Rat Queen.
Ratcatcher 2.
Yeah, I can't think of the actress's name, but
I'm really happy.
I know
what you're talking about.
I'm really happy it brought her into a huge spotlight where she has all these roles now. Because I love her as an actress, and I think she was probably the best part of that entire movie, in my opinion. But I also absolutely hated what they did with King Shark, and I felt like almost all the characters in the movie were so unlikable, so unrootable, which is kind of what you want from Suicide Squad. So it kind of did it correctly, but it's also horrible from a standpoint, from a movie standpoint, because I couldn't find anything to really find any reason to enjoy behind, and I really didn't care for the directing. I thought it was just okay. I don't think it's his best directed movie, and I don't think it's his worst, but I didn't really care for it. I would much prefer to watch Black Adam, Aquaman 2 over the Suicide Squad any day. Not Justice League. That I would never watch again.
Don't watch the commentary. You'll know why.
Don't get it twisted. But I would rather watch those two movies 1,000 times over watching the Suicide Squad.
Okay.
I also think tonally, it's horrible, and none of the jokes landed.
Okay. So for me, where I think this movie truly shines is where I am most excited about James Gunn taking over the DCU. Is that he is able to take a group of people that we have no idea who they are and instantly, in some way, shape, or form, find a way to care about them in some capacity. He did that with me with Guardians of the Galaxy, and he did that for me with this movie. The King Shark, I think, is King Shark and Harley Quinn are the hotly debated thing between the two of us when it comes to this movie. I agree with you on Idris Elba. I agree with you on Flag. I agree with you on everybody else. But I will fight for both. I will fight for King Shark. I will fight for Peacemaker, and I will fight for Polka Dot Man.
Oh,
I
Polka
think
Dot
all
Man.
three of those
Sorry.
characters and Ratcatcher too.
Also, phenomenal. I thought like Polka Dot Man, the few sequences that I really enjoyed out of that movie had to do around Polka Dot Man. I do agree. I forgot he was in that movie. My brain was yeah.
And James Gunn did something that I think David Ayer could have done and probably was able to do in his version of the film. He made the film The Suicide Squad be called The Suicide Squad. And there were stakes to this movie. Whereas with the other one, it didn't feel like there were any stakes to it. I felt like people could die in this movie because of what they did with the film. And Harley Quinn, I will not just give blame to James. Him and Margot worked together on that version of Harley. That was not just him. So she had some idea of what that was going in, and that's my biggest issue with Birds of Prey. Is I think Margot plays the character of Harley Quinn very, very, very well, but I think she needs to stay out of how the character is portrayed because I think Harley has some great moments in this movie, but the stuff with her and the guy should have not been in this film. It shouldn't have because it doesn't add to the movie. It doesn't make the movie go any further or any backwards. It just stays, and it takes away from what Harley is. So I agree with you on that. But I think the stuff outside of that still feels like Harley Quinn, and it feels like Harley from Suicide Squad. Whereas I think Birds of Prey does not feel like her at all. She feels like a one-off version of the character. Where I think the sub characters around her were the stronger path, which is where I agree with you on Birds of Prey. Back to Suicide Squad. King Shark, I think, is the heart. Him and Ratcatcher 2 are the heart of the movie because yes, King Shark is dumb in this movie. He is the dumbest character in the world, but he's also the same way in Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, which I know you don't like either.
I hate it.
And the Flash, he is not the brightest character in the Flash TV show. He's not the brightest character in the world. And so I've always found it hard when you talk about how they portray him. Like every version I've seen of him, minus the one thing, which is the Harley Quinn show, which I know what you're talking about. He is not portrayed as the brightest tool in the shit.
That's why I enjoy
But that's
him.
only one version. When you look at comics and when you look at everything else, he's portrayed
no. If you go and you find the comics that are King Shark centric, he's much smarter than what the movies make him a gimmick.
And so are Rocket and Groot. They're the same thing.
Wait, Rocket and Groot are. Oh, you think Rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
Groot is a gimmick.
Okay, Groot.
Rocket's
maybe
not.
I think we can possibly.
Groot's a gimmick.
I think Groot has much more development. But
Does
he also had much more time.
Metaphorically, he grows. But he's there. He's there to give off cool action scenes. I think King Shark is no different.
I didn't like
King Shark is, but there is so much. What I think James does so well with the character, and I think what he does so well with CGI characters in general, is that the emotion is there. He may not be able to speak it, but when you look at King Shark, you can see it. And I talk about that scene in the car when he lingers and sees these people in love, being able to hold each other, and he realizes at the moment that he doesn't have that, but then he looks back and sees everybody in that van. He realizes he does have that, and I think that's a moment that if you don't look at it hard enough, that it's there. And it's the same thing for Peacemaker. Now, granted, the Peacemaker got a whole other thing to add more to him. But what I think they did so brilliantly with him and Cena is that they made him such a cynical, evil motherfucker that you couldn't root for him. So when he kills Flag, it hurts because Flag is I think Flag is so much better in this than he is in Suicide Squad. I think he plays him so much better, and I believe him more as the leader of the team than I do in the other one. And the fight between him and Peacemaker is fantastic. It's brutal, it's gut wrenching, and the punches hit. And where I think this movie, I think really needed something at the time would have been Will. I think Deadshot should have been here and not Idris Elba. I think Deadsport is awesome, but he's not that character for this movie. It should have been Will. I think Will would have fit so much better in this than he does in the other movie. And I think the directing in places, I agree with you, is not his best, but there are certain scenes. Harley Quinn's fight scene is incredible. I think the again, the choreography and the directing of the Peacemaker versus Rick Flag fight, I think is really good. Starro for me is not the villain of this movie. The villain of this movie is Amanda Waller. And when you look at it from that
and
point
then
of view,
what they do with Amanda Waller here, it makes me so mad.
But what else would you want from Waller?
To hold her ground. They make her. I don't want to say the word because it's not really appropriate. I won't say it here. But
I agree.
It's disrespectful.
She's a lot better in Peacemaker. That's all I'll say.
Which to be honest with you, I didn't get that far. Where I mean, I knew I saw her like once in whatever I did watch, but it wasn't enough to have any. I thought she was much better in Suicide Squad. The first one.
I agree, but again, also Polka Dot Man, like I mentioned, David Stelzmalchin does such a fantastic job with taking this know-nothing character and making me care so much about him. When he fights his giant mother, you go, "You get her!"
But my opinion here, that's a lot of him as an actor doing it, not so much the movie. Like, I don't think I would care if it was a different actor portraying Polka Dot Man.
I disagree.
That's fine. That's my
yeah.
So I can't give props to the movie for it because I don't think the movie did a good enough job, in my opinion, with the character. I think he did a phenomenal job. And I also feel that way with Ratcatcher. I think it's Daniela Mon. I can't remember her name. Whatever. I think she brought more to that role than which she did what she was supposed to, in my opinion. But I don't think the movie did a good enough job. Like, as if we're ranking it here.
Here's my thing. We were just talking about this at the beginning of the podcast with Thunderbolts. This is what, minus how hardcore this movie is, because obviously Thunderbolts movie are PG-13. This is what Thunderbolts needs to be. I don't want to care about any of them. They're supposed to be villains. I'm not supposed to care for them. I don't want to root for them. I want them to succeed on their mission, obviously, so they can get to the next one. But I don't want to care about them. And that's what these villain movies are supposed to be.
I disagree.
That's why Black Adam doesn't work for me, because Black Adam is a villain, not a hero.
He's an anti-hero. But I disagree with that statement. The best villains are the ones you care about, in my opinion.
But I don't want them to be portrayed as heroes, and they're not heroes here.
No, they're just doing but they're so unlikable that you can't even, you don't care. I don't care about what's happening to them. There's no stakes for me because there's no one I'm rooting for.
I get that.
That's why Joker, who objectively is a horrible person, okay? Objectively. Doesn't matter how many people portray him beautifully. He's objectively a horrible person.
He's terrible.
But he's a phenomenal villain because you care. And so it adds stakes. It adds emotion. When you get to the ending of Joker, you feel it. You feel it inside you. And you're nervous and you're scared that something bad is going to happen to this person who objectively not the greatest, who's done some pretty shitty things. But you don't care because you want to see him succeed. Even though deep down inside, morally, you're like, this is wrong. Suicide Squad for me did nothing of that.
That's fair. I honestly think, and there's a reason why it's at C and Peacemaker is at B. I think Peacemaker is I think the other half of this story. I think that does significantly better because, in my opinion, they took the better character and strived with it.
And with Peacemaker, it also got 8 episodes that were about an hour a piece, and that
Yeah.
type of thing. And so it had more time, and that's fine. That's part of the reason. Like Zack Snyder's Justice League is sitting up here because it's 4 hours long. I mean,
It earns.
So the development is there, and so the caring is there, and the characters that you want to have here are not very well are better here, objectively. I think C, in my opinion, based off our conversation, is a great place.
It's actually kind of the perfect spot.
Yeah, it's the kind of the perfect spot. Would I put it there in my own personal ranking? No, but you also wouldn't put it there in your own personal ranking, and so I think it's a perfect C level movie.
It's right there in the middle. That was a good conversation.
Yeah. All right. With that being said, though,
I gotta tell you, this is. I feel so much off of my chest now because we finally did this. Because this is probably because the DCEU has probably been the most hotly contentious conversations and arguments we've ever had on this show is because of these 17 films right here, and it's crazy.
I agree. I agree.
But I think it also just shows how much you and I were invested and wanted this to work, and it just didn't.
I really did, and I tried. I saw almost all of these in theaters, except for like 2 or 3, because I tried everything.
After some point, you just have to realize that it's not going to work.
Which one did I think it was this? No, because Wonder Woman 1984 had to come out after that, right?
Wonder Woman came out in 2020. Suicide Squad was 2021. Did you see Black Adam in theaters?
No, because Suicide Squad would have been the last movie that I saw from the DCEU in theaters.
That's right.
Except for Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle was technically the last one.
Blue Beetle's DCU, not DCEU.
Yeah. But it's still in this ranking and stuff. But it broke me. It was the movie that I decided that it truly has to be phenomenal across the board for me to go sit down and see. And none of the other movies.
The last one I saw in theaters, Jacob, was the Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Crazy. And part of the reason why I went and saw Blue Beetle in theaters was because the reviews were so good.
Mm-hmm.
And people were talking so highly about it that I was like, okay, I have to go see it in theaters then. It's
so looking at this ranking, as it stands, do you think at the time, if everything would have gone not according to plan, but more in Zach's favor with everything going on, obviously, and family tragedies and such, do you think the DCEU would be thriving right now still if Zach was still in charge?
I don't.
Or do you think by this point it might have tanked even harder?
I think it would have tanked harder. I think the darkness that Zach evolves around his films, I don't think is sustainable for a franchise in the long run. DC is definitely the place to go if that's what you're trying to do, if you're trying to do it with superheroes. But
I think DC fits better in the darkness with Elseworlds. I don't think it should be in their core franchise.
Also, here's the thing. If we look at this and we objectively we re-rank them and we rank them based on how we feel tonally. Did they hit the mark? Did they not hit the mark? I have a feeling a lot of these movies would not be so high on this list.
I agree.
Because, outside of a few of them, I think they hit the mark, but a lot of them, they don't hit the mark of where they need to be. This is enjoyment, objective, standpoints and things.
Because we put Aquaman at B. I think it's a B movie for sure, but tonally that movie's all over the place. It wants to be like the swashbuckling adventure, but it also has these dark tones. Same thing with Shazam.
Yep.
It's a family film with some seriously dark tones. I think Blue Beetle of this entire bunch is the most upbeat, light movie of the bunch.
Once again, I need to see Shazam Fury of the Gods.
I'm fine.
I will eventually watch it. I'll watch it with River.
River will want to watch it, yeah.
There's dragons in it. She'll watch it. I'd actually say the most kids-friendly one is Aquaman 2.
And that's not a good thing.
To its detriment. In my opinion. But that's where but Aquaman's always been a little bit more on the kid-friendlier side. It just wasn't as good. I don't know.
So going off this ranking, if you had to watch any of these again, would you mainly go from the S and the B and stay away from the other ones?
No. Like I said, I would say the only ones I probably would never like. I have zero desire to rewatch. We have Batman versus Superman, The Flash, Aquaman 2, whatever, Justice League, Black Adam. Suicides. I would maybe rewatch the Suicide Squad to see if my opinion after so many years has changed. Because
Would you do a commentary to it?
Yeah, I'd be open to a commentary to it just because it's been so much. I've only seen it once.
Never brought it up simply because I know how much you don't like it, and I've never.
I don't like it, but you never know, and it could be the same. I could walk out of it thinking the exact same thing, but you never know until you rewatch something. So I'm not opposed to it. But I definitely would rewatch Birds of Prey. Like I said, I've watched it more times than I would actually want to admit on the internet, so I'm not going to. Wonder Woman 1984, for elements of it, I don't know if I've rewatched the whole thing, but there's definitely moments in that movie that I do enjoy.
Her first flight is so just...
Oh, it's not as great at home, but if you saw it in theaters, it was a special time. It was a special. Suicide Squad will always have a special place in my heart. Suicide Squad is your version of Man of Steel, in my opinion. Shazam is a fun one if you're watching it with children. Blue Beetle is also a good one. I've never seen it twice, but I would definitely open to rewatch. So yeah, I would just say the lower half. Batman vs Superman. Yeah, that type of thing.
I've seen Justice League now 4 times.
Yeah, and see, Zack Snyder's Justice League is great. It's just so long, and so it's hard to
find the right day to do it and actually to sit down. Or you can do like as they do and break it up into parts.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the good thing about like Zack Snyder's Justice League is like if we just pinpoint where those movies are, it's a smaller group that you actually have to like watch.
Look at. You would go Man of Steel, BVS, Wonder Woman, and then Zack Snyder's Justice League.
And if you want to continue on, you can do Aquaman.
And it really isn't,
and then 84 once again. I know that Wonder Woman does show up in Shazam and stuff. If you're like truly trying to,
just focus on the Zack stuff, then that would be like, and then like the Flash, obviously.
And then Aquaman 2, which I don't recommend, but bless you. But
So now this is all set and done. Does this make you feel a little bit better going into the new one now? Knowing that this is officially like ranked and we can move on from it?
No.
Interesting.
Only because my biggest issue, the whole thing we just talked about,
James,
is the head. I would say if anybody else was the head person and he was just working with them, I know there's a code, but like, what are they doing? I don't know. But I'm talking about like if he was like just doing Superman and just coming in and doing a few projects for them, kind of like he did for Guardians, that type of thing. I think I would feel much different about it. But because he is the top person who's going through all this, I'm not sure. Let me see Superman first, and then I'll tell you how I feel.
All right.
I need a little bit more concreteness, especially because my reaction to Guardians Volume 3 was, it's a great movie, but I have several problems with it, and I still have several problems with it. And the more will you be
watching Creature Commandos this year when it drops?
I don't think so. It does not interest me. I like at all. But the reviews could be phenomenal, and that will get me to watch it.
Much like with X-Men, the reviews are too good that you want to see why everybody's talking about it.
All right, Zachary. That being said, though, we don't do our normal outro stuff here, what we've been watching. There's 2 parts to this. This is part 1. Zachary has an outro, though, for us.
I do, but my computer's frozen.
I see that. Well, it's okay. They can hear you audibly. So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
As always, guys, make sure to like, rate, subscribe. Hey, there we go. Like, rate, subscribe, hit the comment section. Let us know your rankings of the DCEU and how do you feel about it finally being at its end. The final nail in the metaphorical coffin. We will see you guys in podcast part number 2. And as always, goodbye. I was doing something